Hello, friends. This is George Chesnut at the Episcopal Church of St. Peter and St. Paul, Marietta, Georgia. This is investigating the hymns for Sunday, the 1st of November. Now, that's a significant date because it is the Feast of All Saints. Some beautiful and greatly loved hymns are traditionally associated with the Feast of All Saints, as observed by the Church each year on November 1st. Now, a little instruction about this. November 1st remains All Saints' Day, regardless of the day of the week. But in modern practice, many churches transfer their observance to the following Sunday, often referred to as All Saints' Sunday. In traditional practice, this is a separate celebration from All Souls' Day, or, as our current Book of Common Prayer refers to it, the commemoration of all faithful departed, always observed on November 2nd, again, regardless of the day of the week. Likewise, however, in modern usage, the 2 days are often combined into one observance. Many Christian denominations also observe Reformation Day at the beginning of November, but this is not a custom in Anglican churches. It happens that this year the actual feast day of All Saints falls on a Sunday. So we will take a look at some of our wonderful All Saints hymns, beginning with the one most strongly associated with this day, number 287, For All the Saints. This is a strong, martial-sounding hymn of praise and thanksgiving to God for the great cloud of witnesses who have gone on before us in the Christian faith, and also a call to faithfulness for all those of us who are still on our earthly pilgrimage. The text was written by William W. Howe and was published in 1864. William Howe was born in 1823 in Shrewsbury, in the county of Shropshire, England, and died in County Mayo, Ireland in 1897. Howe was educated at Durham and Oxford universities and ordained to the Anglican priesthood in 1847. He served several congregations and then became the suffragan bishop of East London in 1879 and the diocesan bishop of Wakefield in 1888. He was called both the poor man's bishop and the children's bishop for his dedicated work among the destitute of the London slums and the factory workers of the western part of Yorkshire. And in the Victorian era, the London slums and the factories of Yorkshire would both have been pretty grim places and needed the touch of a man of God. Bishop Howe was the author of some 60 hymn texts, of which For All the Saints is considered to be the finest. The splendid tune most frequently paired with For All the Saints is by one of the greatest English composers of the 20th century, Ralph Vaughan Williams, who lived from 1872 to 1958. By the way, there is controversy among musicians as to how his first name should be pronounced. R-A-L-P-H, to the vast majority of Americans, spells Ralph. Some people say that in British practice, that should be pronounced Rafe. Other people say that no, not true, that is true only among intimates and among family members. So I don't know which is right. I've heard both, and I've heard heated arguments about it. I'm going to go ahead and say Ralph. Vaughan Williams wrote his tune specifically to be paired with this text, and the tune was published in 1906. It is called Sine Nomine, which literally means without a name. There was nothing in particular he felt moved to call it, so I suppose he decided it wasn't important and harked back to a Renaissance custom in which there are several tunes classified sine nomine, with no name. At the sequence today, we have number 293, I Sing a Song of the Saints of God. This charming favorite has a place of priceless sentimental value in the hearts of many Episcopalians. Church musicians tend either to love it or dislike it intensely. I myself am firmly entrenched in the love it camp. I love to sing it and I love to play it. And I love nothing better than to come along and at the words fierce wild beast, pull on my reed stops and make the organ growl like a fierce wild beast. I Sing a Song has such a hold on many people's hearts that it's surprising to learn that it really isn't that old. It was first published in England in 1929 and didn't appear in the U.S. until the Episcopal Hymnal 1940 came out. The text was written by the Englishwoman Lesbia L. Scott, who lived from 1898 to 1986. She was married to an officer of the Royal Navy who served in both World Wars and later was ordained as an Anglican clergyman. Mrs. Scott wrote a number of hymn texts for children while she was a young mother in her 20s. This text is by far the best known among them. I encourage you to think of examples from church history who can fit into the various categories named. For example, and one was a doctor, Well, that could be St. Luke, who by tradition was a Gentile physician. In modern times, it might be Dr. Albert Schweitzer, one of the greatest musicians of the 20th century, and also a renowned medical doctor who was a medical missionary to Africa. And one was a queen. The queen referenced might be St. Margaret of Scotland, perhaps, who was renowned for her Christian faith and her love and charity toward the poor. Due to the irregular meter of this text, there is only one tune to which it is sung. The tune is called Grand Isle, and it was composed in 1940 specifically for this text. The composer was a retired Episcopal priest, John Henry Hopkins, who lived from 1861 to 1945. The name comes from the island community where Hopkins was living in retirement on Lake Champlain in the state of Vermont. John Henry Hopkins, by the way, is the grandson of the man who wrote the beloved Epiphany carol, We Three Kings of Orient Are. In closing this week, we have one of the loveliest and most profoundly moving hymns I have ever heard. And I've heard a lot of hymns in my long career. This is number 286, Who Are These Like Stars Appearing? It is a great personal favorite of mine. Its author was Heinrich Schenk, a German teacher and pastor who lived from 1656 to 1727. It's the only hymn we're aware of that he wrote. The English translation we have is by the 19th century Englishwoman Frances Elizabeth Cox, who worked extensively as a German to English translator. There are several tunes to which this text can be sung. I think the one we have is the loveliest. It's a German tune dating from 1698 called Zeug mich, Zeug mich. Who are these like stars appearing? As we celebrate this All Saints' Day in this difficult year of 2020, may it be exactly so for each one of us. God bless you, dear friends. See you again soon. Bye.